Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's talk. I'm really excited you're all here. I'm going to throw up screen share here. Really quick housekeeping items, everyone. First things first, find the chat box. Should be on the right side. We're using an interface called Livestorm, and it's really easy to use. Find the chat. We're going to be using this throughout the session. Let us know where you're from. And what kind of business you run, just so we kind of know who's in the room. We'd love to see an active chat box in these things. I'm going to get my three amazing panelists, Meaghan, Jody, and Tommy, to wave. Hey, guys, we'll do intros for you in just a quick second. But I want to set this up and do a little opening remarks first. So welcome, everyone, to the next 90-minute sort of powwow we're going to have. This is going to be a really, really fun conversation. As you can see by the slide in front of you, it says the title of today's talk is End the Hiring Crisis in Your Home Service Business When You've Already Tried Everything. There is a very, very real feeling among contractors, among home service business owners, entrepreneurs of all sorts. It's not just this industry, by the way, where when it comes to hiring and recruiting and team building, it's like this is a lot harder than it used to be. There's some reasons for that, right? If we kind of look back on the last couple of years, we've had a huge amount of government stimulus. If you look at the money printing that's happened, we've had a major boom for trades and home services. We've got massive labor shortages. There's sort of a lethargic workforce post-COVID. There's some challenges inherent with attracting younger generations. There's about 50 other things I could rattle off if we had time. The fact of the matter is, what used to work is no longer working, and we're faced with a challenge in that we need to think outside the box a little bit, and we're going to need to try new things, and we're definitely going to need to work harder at this than we may be used to. So if you are looking for some fresh perspective on this conversation, if you're looking for some new tactics to try, and if you're looking for just an inspiring overall message when it comes to team building, you are absolutely in the right place. Today's session is also a Q&A, so if you have questions, post those in the Q&A box as we go throughout the talk. My name is Benji. I don't know if I said that already. I work with a company called Breakthrough Academy, and we systemize contracting businesses for growth. I'm going to talk a little bit more about who we are and what we do at the end of this session. But if you like what we talk about, you find it relevant, there's an entire world, there's an entire program outside of this little webinar we're doing today where this is all we do. So you should definitely check us out, and I'll speak to that a little bit more later. With a lot of the talks that we do, we always like to give stuff away. It's one thing to just sort of share ideas, but it's another to actually equip you with the tools and resources you need to do this stuff. So if you stick around till the top of the hour, we're going to make available a hiring bundle. There's going to be an ideal candidate profile, which we're going to talk about in the roundtable. There's going to be an interviewing guide. There's going to be a script for how to do better setup calls and a whole bunch of other things. Jody's really gracefully included a really cool document you need to check out called Recruiting Statistics That Make You Think. These are all free and available. At the end, we're going to send you to a landing page where you can download them. So the agenda for today, everyone, pretty simple. We're going to do a who's who in the zoo, do intros in a quick sec. We're going to have this roundtable discussion for roughly an hour. It might be a little bit more than an hour, but we've got, I think, 5 or 6 really solid questions we're going to answer as a group. We'll do the free resources. We're going to give all of you here, I think there's 100 plus, I haven't checked in a couple minutes, but there's well over 100 people in this room. If you like this conversation and you want to book some one-on-one support with us, that will be made available at the top of the hour. So stick around until then. We'd love to book a coaching call with you. And then we will close this out with kind of an open forum Q&A. So if you have questions that we don't answer in the roundtable, put those in the Q&A section and we will get to them at the end. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to our industry powerhouses. I'm going to start with you, Meaghan. Really excited to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Meaghan Likes. I'm the founder of Bookkeeping Academy Online, and I educate and empower small business owners to know their numbers so they can live more financially rewarding lives. But I'm here not as an accountant today. I'm here as a BTA super user and a Tommy Mello fangirl. I have been doing BTA for about a year now. And in my window cleaning business, forgot to mention that I own a window cleaning, gutter cleaning business with my husband, Jeff, in Northern California. And we went from being completely stressed out about how to find people to having a beautiful, fully automated recruiting system. And our coach actually heard about it, then somehow went through the BTA thing. And that's why I'm here today, is to geek out about our home service business and how we have made the stressful part of recruiting and retaining our employees easier.
We're very, very lucky to have Meaghan, guys. She's got some unbelievable thoughts on, like she said, automations, the hands-free sort of fashion that she's made her system very, very hands-off, very automated, very seamless. I'm excited for you guys to hear her share some of the secrets. Jody, let's hear from you.
Sure. So my name is Jody Underhill. I'm the founder of Rapid Hire Pro, and my background is I was an executive of a Fortune 250 company for over 20 years. Left that, started a marketing agency, and worked with some of the biggest names in the business, like Digital Marketer with Ryan Dice and that group, and read coaching programs for Russell Brunson. Didn't really ever start off to be a recruiter, but got asked to kind of fix some things for a recruiting company. Looked at it and said, well, that's pretty easy to do, and use my background of having basically designed over 150 funnels in 37 different industries and kind of put that to work, kind of turn things on its ear. Also, I've known everybody's commenting in the box about Tommy Mello being a hunk. I agree. He's I'm a fangirl too, but I've known Tommy for about 11 years. From all back I was from back in like 2010, and so it's great to be able to share this time with him, with Tommy and with Meaghan. Meaghan's a rock star as well. I was able to speak with both of them last year at Tommy's Vertical Track event, and just excited to be here and share some of the things that we have discovered through helping over 50 companies with their recruiting process.
Yeah, guys, we're really, really excited to have Jody and some of his rapid hire wisdom here. You've heard him say, like, he's a marketer by trade. If you've been to anything Breakthrough Academy related, you've heard us say a million times, recruiting and hiring is fundamentally the same process as a marketing and sales funnel. And he's taken like what works to acquire clients and literally just reverse engineered it to acquire new talent for a business. It's really, really progressive and pretty advanced. So we're lucky to have him as well. Let's hear from the hunk himself. Tommy, welcome to the Roundtable.
Hey, Benji. Appreciate being here. You were actually in my shop about 3 weeks ago. We did an awesome podcast on the home service expert. You know, I am A1's janitor, and they allowed me to speak at this event. But, you know, we went from 150 employees during COVID all the way up to 450 rather quickly. And that's through systems. Hired a lot of consultants. I read a lot of books. And I'm just here to share you guys the number one thing in your company, culture. But culture breeds amazing human beings. And if we care for our employees first and put them above our own needs, leaders eat last. I think we all win. So you might have heard of my podcast, The Home Service Expert. Got a little book out. And the coolest thing about the book is the 12 contributors in here. Definitely not me. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. But here to deliver as much value as possible. And Benji is a genius, by the way. So hopefully he's able to answer some of these questions as well. And you guys know I love Meaghan and Jody. They're my compadres through life. So glad to be here.
Thanks, guys. Okay, everyone here, all 189 of you, I'd love to hear from you guys. When it comes to staffing, what is your biggest challenge? Type out a sentence or two, a couple thoughts on it. You know, what's at the root of the issue here? Is this top of funnel in the sense that you literally can't get applicants in the first place? Is this, do you have sort of a challenge when it comes to interviewing and selection? Like, are you maybe getting traffic, but you seem to be picking the wrong people? Do you have retention challenges? Are you not really sure like who fits in what role? give us a sentence or two on what your specific challenge when it comes to team building is. And I'm going to read a few of these off in the chat box as they come in. And there's a lot coming in. I can hear by the notifications in my ear. So let's just go through a few at random. Quality of applicants. People apply, but when we call them back, we hear nothing but crickets. Been there. Yup. 300 applicants, 2 hires. Finding qualified applicants. Lack of skill, lack of good attitude. People who will actually show up for the interview. We're going to talk about that today, Joseph. This sort of like being you're sort of sitting there waiting to interview someone. Like you're the one offering the job and you're getting stood up like a cheap date. Sucks. I've been there a million times. We're going to talk a little bit about how to address that. Christine says can't get applicants. Top of funnel beyond people already in the industry, skipping around shops. Okay, very few applicants. The list goes on. There's 20 that I didn't get to. We will go through this later. But as you guys can see, everyone here is feeling some pain when it comes to this. And each of you are going to have sort of a unique set of challenges that are unique to your market, where you live and where you operate your business, to the type of industry that you work in, the type of business and the roles that it needs. There's going to be elements of this that are obviously unique to you. There's also going to be a lot that is quite similar. And so whatever it is that you've come here to get answers on, I really want you to keep that front of mind throughout this roundtable. Have a notepad and a pen out and be listening very, very carefully for the tactic, the insight, the nugget that addresses that. I feel very confident you will probably come away with not one, but a handful of things that could address that issue. So stay tuned. Okay, let's get into this. Couple big challenges. I'll just summarize. A lot of you have said this in the chat box already, but definitely there's a top of funnel issue. People are having an extremely difficult time getting people to apply in the first place. So you post an ad or you post a couple ads, you wait there and you hope and you pray for a few days, and there's like 2 terrible resumes with typos who are not even close to a fit. So there's like just a volume issue. I can't get people to apply. I read a bunch of you mentioned people ghosting interviews. So yeah, maybe I do a call with them. The resume looks okay. They seem like they might be a good fit. So I schedule a sit down and they no-show me. Another really common challenge we see here, you guys know the definition of insanity is trying the exact same thing over and over and expecting a different result. With recruiting, there seems to be a lot of widespread insanity where it's like we do the exact same thing and then we get more and more and more frustrated as the results just keep diminishing. So there's absolutely a need for some fresh tactics, which we're going to get into as well. And these 3 issues, a lot of the time, lead to this 4th one, which is we have poor retention because we can't get the people we want in the first place. We end up with what I would call a B player, someone that we kind of make do with because we have to. And that can lead to a huge amount of issues downstream: quality control, culture, and turnover. So if that sounds like you, keep listening. Let's get into some evolution stories here. And I think we'll start with you, Meaghan. What is your hiring evolution story?
Okay, I have a feeling mine is similar to most of yours, where I was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, sitting in a room, and this is when we had really low unemployment. I guess we still have really low unemployment, don't we? And I wasn't getting any applicants. Like nobody was applying for my jobs. And I sat through this class with Martha Woodward, and I felt like she'd bugged my house. She talked all about how I was listing all the do nots in my job ads and how I needed to really sell myself to the applicants, how I needed to rethink about my job listing to make it clickbait. And so we started to change those things, and suddenly, almost immediately, we had tons of applicants, but they were just coming through my company really quickly, and they were leaving really quickly, and they were leaving really bitterly. All of those terminations were nasty. I like to talk about the 6 different lawsuits that I've had from past employees in my company. I learned from every single one of them. I didn't lose from any of them, but it was really, really a painful time. I didn't have any accountability in my company. I didn't have a culture. I just was looking for people who could lift ladders and hopefully show up to work relatively sober. I think that's where I was at. And then I started to talk to people who were smarter than me and who had better ideas. And we were able to start evolving the way we thought about our company, the way we thought about our culture, the way we thought about our staff, the way we thought about our team. And we started to really build this culture, which I know is a buzzword right now, but I think you know what I mean when I say, like, we want to hang out together, not just at work, but outside of work. And my husband's happy to go to work. Can anybody relate that first hour of the day when it was miserable because everybody would call off, or they'd call in sick, or they wouldn't show up, and it was just painful. So we worked through Breakthrough Academy, and they helped us set up accountabilities and set clear expectations. And then we started attracting like-minded people. And we're going to talk a lot more about that later today. But now we have a wait list of people that want to work for our company. We have a proactive system where we are always hiring for every single position in our company. And we have a transparent culture of winners. Like, we are all on the same team now. So we came from a pretty dark place not that long ago to a place now where it's fun to go to work again. And I'm proud of the team we built.
Yeah, I love that. That's so powerful. I think the key word there I want to highlight for all of our listeners would be there's a wait list. Like, there's more people that wanting to work for you than you can possibly hire right now, which is probably seems like a dream state to a lot of people that might be struggling with this. But what I love about this story that I can just share it is this is a solvable problem, guys. It's a problem, and it's a big one, and it feels scary. But there are steps to take. There are things to implement, and you can turn this thing around. So thank you for sharing kind of your before and after. Tommy, to you for a sec, like A1 has grown tremendously. I'm sure there's a lot you've learned about team building through that story. You know, what was it like before? How is it now?
You know, I hated the word culture when I first got into business. I said, these employees, they don't listen to me. They're not thinking hard enough. They're lazy. No one can do it as good as me. So therefore, I'm going to be the guy to go do it all. And my rule in my mind was when somebody could beat me at sales or get more reviews than me, then that's when I get out of the field. And it took 8 years. So I've learned all the hardest ways. Literally, if there's a mistake made, I've made it. And I'd say I was very reactive. I was like, I need somebody. I need to go find somebody. Then all of a sudden, if they have a pulse and they could fog a mirror, I was like, you're hired. Get on. Let's go. And what I've learned now is we have a lot more things we go through. We go through a lot of things to make sure they're the right person for our company. And, you know, Jody's helped a lot, but we've got a much larger candidate pool coming in. We've automated a lot of it. And I really like the point of the E-Myth where he says, your systems have to be so great that a minimum wage high school student should be able to master the art. At McDonald's, they wash their hands 8 times a day because they put in their 4-digit code as an employee and they know they're washing their hands. And that's a system. And the systems and the processes and the checklists are what I've learned to rely on a lot from Al Levy. As you know, I'm a big fan of Al Levy, the 7-power contractor. But when you add it all up, I would say the fact is a lot of people know what they're making the mistakes. They know they should be spending money in marketing for human beings. They know that 1 A player equals 3 B players. And what I've learned more than anything is give our employees such a better life. Give them everything they want, everything they need. Let them put their kids in private school. They deserve it. Let them buy a nice vehicle. Let them have a couple rental homes. Let them have insurance and PTO. And before I used to not think, well, I'm the owner. I took all the chances. I deserve it. I'm the only one that deserves it because I took all the chances. Now I'm like, what if I could give them everything? So just a completely different mindset.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's an extremely relatable feeling, Tommy. Your sort of junior, your novice mindset towards this is, you know, these people are worker bees and there's tasks that need to be completed, and the thanks they get is the money I pay them. Now it's a completely different, like you say, mindset approach towards this, and I'm sure the results have followed. Jody, really looking forward to hearing your kind of evolution story on this because you come from such like a marketer's background. It's maybe a different one than say a contractor's, but tell us how you got from where you were then to where you are now. Tell us a bit about your evolution story.
Yeah, so it's it is a bit different because, like I said, I'm a marketer first, and it's been about 2 years ago now because I've done coaching for, for different programs. I had somebody come to me and said, "Hey, I need to see if you can help me solve a problem." I'm like, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, "Well, we're doing recruiting for truck drivers for trucking companies, and I've got these carriers that I'm working with, but I've promised them stuff, and I can't get it to work. Can you kind of step in and help me solve this problem?" So I took a step in, looked at it, and said, "Yeah, basically your problem is you need to have some automations in place." And so we put some systems in place, and we're able to turn it around and keep him from having to like $72,000 worth of refunds. And I looked at it, and I'm like, they say success leaves clues. I was like, that looks pretty easy to do. I'm going to go out there and sell some of these to some trucking companies myself. So I did some cold outreach. We got about 12 carriers in the next 8 weeks, ranging from 50 to over 500 trucks, and started doing recruiting for that. And then, like I said, I met Tommy 11 years ago. Well, I met him and my wife the same day at the same conference. And so she knows him as well as I do. She reached out to him and said, "Hey, Tommy, I don't know if you have any trouble hiring people right now, but if you do, you need to check out what we're doing with trucking companies." And he's like, "Yeah." So the next week we were sitting in Phoenix going through looking at that. And so we said, well, let's test out and see if it works for home services. So we put that in place, and then Tommy mentioned it on a podcast or two, and people started reaching out. And now we've gone from like basically one home service company, which was A1. And then since October, we've added about 50 more clients to that. And so, yeah, I'm no longer a marketer. I'm a recruiter now. So what I tell people is like, I never even knew we could use our marketing superpowers for recruiting, but that's pretty much the evolution of how I went from, helping local businesses get customers to now helping home service companies get employees.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, thank you guys for sharing. This next question is a good one. We're going to get some sort of high level summaries from everyone on their recruiting system. So we're going to go in the order of Meaghan, Jody, and Tommy, and they're going to sort of take us through top to bottom how their recruiting system, their funnel, their process works. And I want you guys to listen very, very carefully to this, because we're getting into the territory of this conversation where we're sharing some real secrets and some real stuff that works. Compare what Meaghan takes you through over the next few minutes to what you're doing at home. Look for the gaps. There's probably going to be some stuff here that they're doing a little bit better, they're doing a little bit more of, or they're just doing completely differently that you could learn from and implement as well. So, Meaghan, looking forward to hearing this. Take us through your recruiting system.
Yeah, I think you alluded to it in the beginning, but I'm busy. Like, I have 5 different companies, and when I fix something in Jeff Likes Clean Windows, I never want to touch it again. Like, once it's fixed, I want to refine it maybe quickly. So I had to build a system that was essentially automated, that would work every time and be a proactive system as opposed to a reactive system. And I mentioned my first aha moment was when I heard Martha Woodward speak at a conference, and she talked about how I needed to sell myself to these applicants because I had it all wrong. I had the, must have driver's license, must pass background check. I wasn't selling to people. I wasn't marketing in my job listing. It wasn't a sexy job ad. So we switched it. We made it clickbait. We made it, ideal for millennials to be clicking on. I had like superheroes mentioned. I had Batmobiles. I had ninja training. I had all these buzzwords in it. You can think of like a BuzzFeed article, and that was my job listing. But then I had another aha moment when Danny Kerr was speaking about 2 or 3 years ago. And Danny, one of the partners of BTA, said that he loved to hire farmers and athletes. And I just sat there and I was like, who do I love to hire? Like, who are my favorite people to hire? And so we started thinking about it. And I think the listeners today are going to get this ideal candidate profile, which is absolute gold, because that's what we used. We sat down and we started thinking about who were our favorite employees for the past 15 years and what were they like? What did they have in common? What were their hobbies? Where did they hang out? What did they do? What did they drink? Where did they go? Where did they come from? How did we find them? And we started finding these commonalities, and we reworked our job listing again. Then we started interviewing our staff and using their words in our job listing to attract people. So I'm spending a lot of time on the job listing because I think it's so important to attract the top of the funnel. I think we saw in the chat that you guys are having a hard time filling your funnel. Your words are important. Where you're going to find these people is important. Building a system around that is important. Then I found a really powerful applicant tracking system called Hire Who, and Hire Who took that job listing and put it on steroids because it posted it to all of these different boards, to all these different places. It got in front of people who actively currently were employed and had jobs. And then what I love about it is it auto renewed, because remember, it has to be a system that's independent of me. I can't let that job ad expire or go stale. It's just going to keep running for me in the background. That applicant tracking system, we're going to talk more about the automations, but they basically take them through knockout questions, assessments. It auto rejects. It scores them. It does the personality tests. They're setting up the video interviews now. And it makes it the point where the applicants feel like they're having this personalized experience and they're just showing up for an interview with my husband. I love that. I love that. And I love that after the interview, then we can send them through, we can do their background check, their motor vehicle report, we can schedule their drug testing all automatically, just with a click of a button, and we can push them into an onboarding sequence that is now also fully automated for when they get set up in our company. So building a system independent of me, being really thoughtful about what does that look like, making sure there's enough people coming in the top, that's us. That's what we've done. And I have to tell you, we used to like wait till the guy walked out or didn't show up to work or was fired before we'd start posting. And now it's so nice because we're constantly having interviews. We're interviewing every day. It's fantastic.
So Meaghan, just to be clear, like the picture you've just painted is one where you literally just have interviews scheduled for you or for Jeff. That's how hands-free this is. Yeah.
It's literally not hands-free. And I got to beta test the video interviews yesterday. And so I'm very excited about passing that off and delegating that to somebody next.
Okay. So there's so much gold there. I wish I could go through all of it. I just want to highlight a couple things that I heard Meaghan say that I really need to hammer home. Once I do something in my business, I never want to touch it again. That right there is like the hallmark of a strong implementer. That's the mindset of an implementer. I want to build something so that it lasts. I don't want a quick fix. I want a permanent long-term solution. First and foremost, a lot of people in the chat box are asking like, oh, can you speak to the $300,000 a year contractor? And I know what that question is. It's like, okay, there's all this advanced stuff. There's all this really expensive stuff. There's all these like bells and whistles that you could do, but I'm still a small business. I don't have the budget for that. And I hear you 100%. One thing that Meaghan has done exceptionally well that costs nothing, because we're going to give it away for free, is she's built an ideal candidate profile, and she has used that to write a more compelling job posting. Like she said, words matter. So the process, this will be available in the downloads, guys. There's an explainer video on how to build one of these, but an ideal candidate profile, if you never made one, is a very descriptive document that summarizes the exact type of person that you would like to have fill the role. And the reason that that's so important is you cannot write a compelling message. You can't craft an offer to a job seeker out there on the job boards. You can't really make anything that they're going to want to click on without thinking through with some clarity who they are in the first place. So if you're looking for like low-hanging fruit, what's something that I can do that will move the needle, that will improve my conversions, that doesn't cost a lot? The first thing would be to build an ideal candidate profile, and the second thing would be to translate that into a better quality job posting. And I've got good news for you guys. Most of the job postings floating out there in cyberspace are shit. And if you don't believe me, go look at, construction jobs, window cleaning jobs, garage door jobs, whatever your industry is, go look at jobs on ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Glassdoor, Craigslist. Go look at them from the job seeker's perspective, open 10, and you will see how terrible most of them are. It's not hard to stand out. So I really want to make that point clear. It costs you nothing, but maybe a few hours of extra work, and you will notice it in your conversions. Jody, let's go to you. Take us through your recruiting system.
Sure. So where we're a little bit different is because we don't go fish where everyone else is fishing. If you've ever seen a pier where everybody's standing there, you got 100 poles out and everybody has the same bait on the thing and you put it in there, it's kind of a crapshoot as to which one the fish bites. And so what we do is we go to a larger pond where there's not as many people fishing. And that pond for us is social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And we go there. But if you think about it, if you look through your Facebook feed or Instagram feed, how many employment ads are you seeing today? Very few. It's starting to be more. But the reason there's very few is it's hard because it's a special ad category. And since it's a special ad category, you got to be very careful about what you're saying and how you're positioning the job, because certain words will actually get your ad account shut down. Most people, whenever they do advertising on social media, are doing it from their Facebook page as a job posting. And that's very limiting because you can't really put images or videos or anything. So we do it. We advertise for candidates on Facebook and Instagram the same way that you would advertise for customers. And by doing that, we paint the picture of why they should look at the job first and identify and put very, very clean graphics in place that highlights the things. I saw some comments in there that's like, there's really not anything other than pay and benefits. I disagree with that. There's a lot of intangibles that you can get their attention with, like, for instance, like the quality of the vehicles or the dispatch from home, those kind of things that give people more quality of life balance is what people are starting to look for. So what separates you? Because as I always say, anybody that's currently that you would hire is probably already working for someone else. So what's going to cause them to come work for you? So as soon as we get the lead, and we use the lead forms on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, as soon as we get that, we take them off of there and put them into our system so we can start communicating them with multi-channel communications. We instantly text them. We are instantly sending them voicemails. We're instantly sending them emails about the position and showing them the different aspects of it, moving them through the process. And we're talking to them as a person from a person, because when they opt in, we got their name. So it's like, hey, Benji, this is Jody with Rapid Hire. So we got your information from our Facebook campaign. So glad you're interested, this, and this, right? So, and then we move them into doing a video interview. But Meaghan mentioned she saw the video interview. There you're able to see what they look like, how they communicate. If it's somebody that you feel comfortable representing your brand out in the community. And then from there, what you have to do is, in looking at what I tell people, the story of whenever you're advertising for prospects, for employees, think about if you would advertise for customers the same way. You would not go, hey, we're looking for customers who have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, at least 2,500 square feet, that have a 720 credit score, pay their bills on time. If that's you, we'll come to your house and do work. But that's how most people advertise for employees. So you have to tell them all the benefits for coming over to your company, and then tell them what it takes in order to get there. So that's basically speaking to those intangibles and going where not everybody is fishing is how our system.
Hey, Jody, one thing how important is that speed to the lead aspect? You're able to connect with them, it sounds like, pretty much right away. Is that correct?
Yes, it's because the thing is, we're an instant communication society. Most people don't even remember, and I'll talk about it more when we get into the automation section. Most people don't remember filling out a form, because the thing from doing Facebook ads is always, the leads are crap. Well, it's not that. It's that you didn't follow up quick enough. The ideal candidate today can get another job in 10 days, another job with the same benefits, same pay. So it's the speed to action. And as if everyone here is in sales, time kills deals. So you got to move quickly in order to move them through the process and communicate what your process is in an ongoing basis, so they don't have to guess what's going to happen next. Whenever you do those things, it also starts to, and we're going to talk about culture in a little bit, it starts to indoctrinate them into your culture so they can see exactly what kind of company you are, and the fact that you're communicating with them so regularly to help move them through the process. But you also want to disqualify as quickly as qualify. So you're able to do all of those things whenever you automate the process.
Yeah. Guys, a lot of people asking on the chat, like, oh, we ran a campaign, it didn't work. I just would say, go look up Rapid Hire, connect with Jody outside of this. This is like a huge rabbit hole. We could do a 6-hour roundtable on and still not even answer all of it. So really great points. Let's go to Tommy. Take us through A1's recruiting system.
Well, Jody's a big part of it. I would say that one of the things we give $1,500 if an employee gives a referral of a friend or family member or someone that they know and could sign off on. There's a couple of big things here that a lot of people are saying the $300,000 contractor. I had a lot of people. My CSRs all do $1 million a year because they book enough phone calls. I've got economies of scale to get a lot of people to book more phone calls in a day. So there's a lot of advantages of getting to a larger size. But I will say this. Last month, I spent $850,000 in marketing. Spent $20,000 on recruiting. It's not enough. but we're filling more interviews than we've ever had. But I'll tell you this. We are launching our internal promoter program and getting every single employee involved because they make $1,500. If each employee brings on 2 people, I tripled my company size in a month. So we talk all about these things, get Yelp reviews. We talk about Google reviews. We need to make sure we try to get them for a service agreement, make eye contact. We never talk about asking our customers if they know anybody who's awesome and smiles and has fun. We never talk to our friends about coming to work here because maybe it's a crappy place to work, but maybe there's no benefit for us. You know, if I went on your Indeed or Glassdoor right now, it's got a rating of your company. I bet you your Yelp rating, you think about it. I bet your Google, you might look at your Facebook rating. You're probably good on Nextdoor. But if I looked at your Indeed and Glassdoor, you might say, well, what do I do? It's only angry old employees there. Why don't you ask some happy employees that they'd go ahead and take the time to do it? Buy them lunch while they're doing it. I mean, this doesn't take much brain power to think about this stuff. And I'm not belittling anybody here, but it's just thinking from the opposite side. What's in it for me? What if I was in their shoes, the applicant's shoes? So I would say simple little things like that. And you guys got to understand that recruiting takes a recruiter and a job hiring person are 2 different people. If you go to a baseball college, those guys are out there. And they're out there hunting. They got the binoculars and watching the pitches. They're out there. They're flying around, inviting them to school, telling them about a scholarship. What do we do to actively recruit? Are you involved in your church? So I've got like 40 questions I've given each employee. How big are you on social media? Are you involved in any extracurricular activity? Church? Are a softball league? Are you involved in your kids' little league team? What does your significant other do? Oh my gosh, they're part of a huge networking agency? Great. And attribution is what matters here. How does it come back to me? What's in it for me if I'm the employee? And I think too often we just don't think about how do they get credit? How do they get acknowledged? We did a really big check for a guy that recruited 10 people. He made $15,000 in it was a quarter, last year, 4th quarter. So I blew up this big check for him. And we made that thing go viral throughout the company. And do you not think we got a lot of people recruiting after that internally? It's these little things to try to put yourself in the other person's perspective. And that's all I got, Benji, for this.
Cool. Love it. I love getting into the tactical stuff, and we've got a whole slide for just like outside of the box, kind of kooky out there things to try if you're looking for fresh ideas in a minute here. I think we flushed some of this stuff out already, but I think there's a little more to speak to when it comes to automation. You guys are all extremely busy. It would be unrealistic to think you can, devote 2-3 days a week to this with all that's going on in your business. You probably, if you could, you would, but let's be real here. So, given everyone's demands on everyone's time here, I want to ask our panelists how they use automation in their recruiting systems. Jody, let's start with you, then we'll go to Meaghan, then we'll go to Tommy.
Sure. So as I mentioned, whenever we get the lead from Facebook, we're instantly taking them off of Facebook. The other thing that probably people are making comments that I had a great ad on Facebook and it got no results. First of all, Facebook ads always work. What doesn't work is the call to action, the graphics, or the offer. And then also, what is it you're asking them to do? So if you're using if you're doing a job ad through your Facebook page and not doing it through a business manager account where it's an actual ad with imagery and videos and that type of stuff, that could be it. The other thing is they want to usually communicate on Messenger. I don't want to talk to people on Messenger. I can only talk to them when they're on Facebook. So we instantly move them into our system so that we can communicate with them via text. We instantly send them a picture of the ad along with the information about the job with a link to then go to the application page to apply. And we speak to them as a person from a person because we know their name. So our text message has the image and it's like, hey, Benji, this is Jody with Rapid Hire. We got your information. So and it's coming from a local 9-digit phone number to where your business is. Like, for instance, Tommy's in 29 locations in 20 different states. Every one of those locations, those people are being communicated with a local area code phone number because people respond to a local area code rather than a short code or an 800 number. So having those pieces in place, so it's no one thing, it's a bunch of little things that go into place. We get to the application page, there's nothing on that. We talked about sales funnels. There's nothing on that application page for them to do except fill out the application. There's no about us or service areas. It's not a web page on your website. It is a standalone page with nothing for them to do. You have your logos, your trucks, a video about employment, and then you have the application with the job description next to it. At the bottom, you have a place for them to upload a resume if available. Most of the time, I look at hundreds of people's websites every day or their career pages, and always is upload a resume. How many home service people are sitting around that don't have a resume ready to upload that you're missing out on? So when we make it upload a resume if available, we get over 70% of our applications come in without a resume. Now we're still getting the same information because it's on our form that they're filling out. And then once they fill that resume out, then we send them to do a video interview. And to do that video interview, it's like, hey, we're so excited you're interested in a position here. We got just our next step in our process, because you're educating them all the way, is do a short interview. You can use your iPhone, your Android, make sure you have good lighting. You can do it any time of day or night, dress for success and have fun. Then you're able to see what they look like, how they communicate. Is it somebody that you want to have representing your brand? And then you can decide if you want to have a talk with them. So you're able to narrow down who you're talking to and talk to more quality candidates whenever you have that in place. Now that doesn't mean you have to have that. A lot of people can look at an application and look at somebody that they want to have a conversation with. The other part of it is not just communicating with them one time. The ghosting thing is because they're not being communicated with enough. We put every candidate into a nurture sequence. We send them 5 or 6 messages to get the application filled out. Once they do that, we have 5 or 6 messages in place in order to get the video interview done. And then when we schedule the interview with the hiring manager, we send both the candidate and the hiring manager the reminders, because it's not always the candidate that forgets to show up for the interview. Sometimes the hiring manager ghosts the candidate. So both of them get those reminders, and it's the communication that comes into play. Because people say that 71% of people say that they have less anxiety about not hearing back after a first date than not hearing back after a job interview. So continuing to communicate with that. And then, like I said, automating that process. But understanding, as automated as things are, sometimes you still have to step in with a human element to communicate with people as well.
So I'm gonna ask a question on behalf of I'm sure there's listeners right now who are wondering this. To go back to something you said a second ago, we ask for a resume if available, and this is this constant balance between like low friction. We want the process to be low friction. It's very lubricated. They can like get through the steps relatively quickly and with ease, versus like we also need to qualify. So if somebody is watching this right now and they're like, you're not asking for a resume, are you insane? What would you say to someone with that objection or that idea in their mind?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people mentioned Indeed, right? The people you're getting on Indeed are the people, first of all, only the people that are going on Indeed or simply hired as ZipRecruiter. And then it's only the people that are going there that have a resume ready to upload. Right. And as easy as it is, right? Indeed makes it easy. Just upload, answer these questions, and we'll create a resume. It causes a lot of anxiety for people. We're asking the same questions. I mean, what are you going to read on the resume that you're not going to get if you're asking them about their driving record, about their previous employment? Those are the things you're looking for. We just ask those in a very easygoing way in the application form, and we show them all the questions at one time. A lot of these application systems, you answer this, then the next question, and they think that, kind of like the old Vistaprint model of let me get them invested answering questions and they won't stop. They're going to abandon that. That's why people don't get enough people in the top of their funnel. Show them all the questions up front. Let them see that I can fill this thing out in 5 minutes and be done, rather than taking forever to get it filled out. So they fill out those. We have the job description right next to it. So if there's any questions, everything is there. They hit submit. As soon as they do, we're instantly taking them to the video interview. Now they might not be ready to do it, but then we put it in a reminder sequence.
I love that. I think this is an important point here. Like a resume can help, but it's like going with like not demanding it. Guys, it's not like you're not going to do an interview. It's not like you're not going to still get to know this person and peel back the layers. You're just getting rid of a formality that probably is excluding a pretty good chunk. I don't know what the percentage is, but let's say it's enough people that it's noticeable who are not clicking on your ad, who are not engaging with the process because it's one extra step. And there's 100 other job postings to go look at on the site they're scrolling through. So I think that's an interesting nugget, something to keep in mind. Let's keep moving here. Meaghan, you're really big on automation. How does it fit into your recruiting process?
Yeah, so I'm just going to run through a few of these pretty fast, rapid fire style, but we auto update our job listing. That was huge for me because that keeps me proactive. I'm only, thinking about job listing when I have somebody in the yellow zone or the red zone and they're about to like work themselves out of a job, right? Well, my system is thinking about it way ahead of time for me. So I love that. We do the same with the auto texting and the auto emailing and the auto rejects. So based on some assessment questions that we ask or some knockout questions that we ask or both, the candidate will either be moved forward or moved backwards. The questions, same thing. We have them long form on one sheet, kind of like Jody talked about. We have a couple of weird questions. Like, do you remember those pictures where you had like the guy with the dog and then another guy with the dog and you're like, what's different in these pictures? We have some cool assessment questions where we ask like what's different between these pictures and they can choose the checklist and that will actually score them based on whatever we're looking for. We worked with Ashley, shout out to Ashley, our coach at BTA, who helped us use her psychology degree to figure out like what kind of qualities and personalities were we trying to attract in those questions so that it could do the filtering for us. The beautiful thing is we do ask for a resume if they have one. It's not required. We don't look at it ever. 0% of the time do I look at the resume because the assessment questions are telling me everything I need to know. I'm hiring for personality these days. I'm not hiring based on history. I love that now it's doing if we mark them hired, it's doing the auto background check for me. The auto motor vehicle report. Anybody ever forget to do those and then your insurance agent yells at you? Like that sucks and it's annoying. So it does it for me automatically, which I think is amazing. The drug test. I live in California. Drug testing's always been a little weird. And sometimes when we're really desperate, we don't do it. Well, now it's a system. It happens every time. It happens automatically. It gets sent straight to the drug testing place. This is all done through my applicant tracking system. Then the latest thing we worked out this week, which has been my goal for this next quarter here in Q2, is I want to automate my onboarding experience. So now by marking somebody hired in Hire Who, it's pushing to Bamboo HR. So now I can send the offer letter automatically. I can do all the government forms automatically. I don't have any paper employee files anymore, which is amazing. And then the part I'm really excited to work out in the next couple of weeks is access to all my software and access to my LMS. So that person's like set up for success by the time they come to day one in my company. So yes, I'm a huge automations fan. That was a lot of information, but Jody forgot to mention something that he does that I don't do because I can't, and it's amazing. And that is voicemail bombs. Those are huge for getting applicants to that interview, creating this simulated personal experience to get that show up rate higher because they're meeting a real person at that interview, right? And that they need to feel like they're excited to meet that real person. So we're going to talk to a few about my out of the box hacks to how to make the automation not feel like automation. But Jody does a great job with those voicemail bombs in his system and the selfies and the Finnegan pictures.
You're stealing my thunder. That's nice.
No,
I'm
Oh, gosh.
guys, outside of the box. Next slide. Don't
got
steal
it.
anyone's
Ah,
thunder
never
here.
mind. Megan just took this. She can talk for me.
Whole round table is ruined. Kidding. We have a lot of really, really great kind of kooky out there fun ideas in a sec. Tommy, automations, how do they fit into your process? Quick.
Jody really helps me a lot with that. I think the main thing that I would say is figure out ways to interview your employees to get them in the real spot. I have an automated form that goes out for ride-alongs, and the technician's got to grade the guy on like how often does he smoke, how often is he on social media, did he ask good questions. I want to know real life experience for a whole day or 2 or 3. I'd say, there's a good book called The Ideal Team Player that I've recently read. And just when we ask questions for video interviews on HireFlix, which Jody uses for us, tell me a story about yourself that you feel like you really won. And I'm trying to look for certain things, but if they're like, like I'm a little bit worried, but it's still kind of frantic to do a video interview if ever one of you guys do it. So I get it. So that doesn't mean everything, but all these tools are great, but there's one big problem. I'll just end it with this, Benji, is the failure to implement. You guys are going to take all this stuff. I want you to choose 3 simple things to start today and get it on your calendar, because right now you're going to feel like you're drowning. And I want you to pick the 3 favorite things and don't get overwhelmed and go actually take action. Don't fail to implement.
I love it, guys. Really, really phenomenal thoughts on automations. If I can just summarize a couple things that I think is shining through for me, it's the removal of unnecessary blocks near the top of your funnel. If you don't absolutely need it, don't demand it. If you can hire someone without it, go about without it. Like, I really like what Jody and Meaghan said about maybe not actually needing a resume. If there are other unnecessary steps that you're currently doing just because you kind of thought like, well, that's what you do when it comes to HR, that's a hiring best practice. This world is changing so quickly that these sort of like, old adages and pieces of wisdom from human resources 101 and in community college are like no longer relevant. I know there's all sorts of stuff that I thought was true that we've had to throw out in a lot of our recruiting stuff. So make this low friction. That's the key word here. Guys, we're going to take a very brief pause. It's 11:50 Pacific. We've got 3 questions left to answer, and then we're going to go to a live Q&A. But before we do that, I'm going to speak briefly about Breakthrough Academy, but more importantly, I'm going to get you guys these resources. So if you want an ideal candidate profiling system, if you want a job posting template, if you want Jody's recruiting statistics that make you think PDF, you need to stay tuned here for like 5 minutes. I'm going to make those available. In the chat box, though, going back to something that Tommy just said a second ago, is failure to implement. So I want to know in the chat box, before I get you these resources, what was your biggest takeaway? What is the one thing from the conversation we've had so far? And there's more to come. But from the conversation we've had so far, what's the one thing that you are going to commit to implementing? You are going to commit to trying. In a sentence or two, type that in the chat box right now. I would love to see what resonated with you and what you're going to go out there and try. As you're typing those in, I'm going to talk a little bit about implementing change. So, guys, today's talk was a very recruiting and hiring focused one. If you are a fast growing contractor or home service business, your revenue gets bigger every year, your team is swelling and expanding, you're getting to this stage where your company desperately needs infrastructure, it needs systems to get to the next level. That is why Breakthrough Academy exists. We ensure that there is no failure to implement. We deal with a lot of stuff. Recruiting is one of those things. But we get into financial tracking and training systems, onboarding. We structure sales and marketing processes. We develop organizational structures that make sense. That is sort of our why, right? It's to transform honest, hardworking contractors into well-balanced leaders and thriving entrepreneurs. Meaghan has made a number of shout outs to Coach Ashley, who she works with. Her and her husband, Jeff, have been within the Breakthrough Academy program for a number of years now. And she is one of our 450 clients all over North America who are benefiting from having a coach in their corner helping them implement. The results are on the right, or something I really need to mention. They're pretty impressive. Our businesses all together do about 1.3 billion with a B in revenue every year. The businesses grow their top line, so the revenue increases by 21% after 12 months in the program. And then they increase their net profit by 40% after 12 months in the program. We track every business's P&Ls. We track their numbers very, very closely, right down to the dollar and cent. That is an aggregate average over a 12-month period in Breakthrough Academy. Now, how we do that is relatively simple. There's content, there's coaching, and there's community. So the content piece is we have a massive library of SOPs and frameworks and templates. If you hate like writing stuff from scratch like I do, you never have to do that again. We give you this stuff. You get to get rid of the Breakthrough Academy logo, add your own company logo. So if you've ever like needed to write a job description, or you've wanted to write a better job posting, or you need a better interviewing process to follow, you don't need to build these from ground zero. You can just take ours and use it. We have a massive team of coaches. This is how we ensure you actually implement. So this person sits in your corner, they understand your business, they help you get systems in place, and the companies all grow as a result. So if you've wanted to like have someone to bounce ideas off of, have someone to guide you, but more importantly, have someone to kind of hold your feet to the fire, that is the coach's job. And they work very, very close with you week in, week out. The last thing is the
Can
community.
I be super rude and interrupt?
Go
I just
for
have
it.
to say I'm a bully. See, I just interrupted the speaker when I wasn't supposed to talk. But Ashley was freaking amazing. And they placed her with Ashley. I have tried to work with coaches in the past, and all of the coaches at BTA have been really helpful. But what I like is I got to set my own goals. I was actually not very nice to Danny when we had our sales call because I just wanted to sign up for BTA. Maybe I was mean to Benji too. But I just, as a user, I'm getting paid nothing for saying this, but it has absolutely changed my life and my business. What I love about BTA is the program, the education, and the coaches. They will hold you to the goals that you set. They don't have the end goal planned. So they're just going to help you get there. And even if you're a strong D like me, they will get you to the finish line, which I found amazing. So I'm going to stop talking now.
Totally.
Sorry, Benji, for the interruption,
No.
but a special shout out to Ashley. She's amazing.
We appreciate it. Ashley is one of 17 unbelievable coaches that we have. They all have industry specializations, and just like Meaghan said, the benefit of having someone truly in your corner is life-changing. The other thing that's really cool is the community. And the other thing that Meaghan was just at was one of our many like in-person events. We had, I think, 200 contractors in Phoenix at the beginning of January to literally build their strategic plans, set their goals for the year, commit to them with each other, bounce ideas off of each other. And this community thing, like this idea of getting you with like-minded entrepreneurs who are fighting the same battle as you to almost act like a board of directors, like have this group of peers and friends to go through the journey with is another hugely important part of what we do. So we've talked a lot today in this conversation about ideal candidate profiles, right? It's really important to know who you want to hire. Here's our ideal candidate profile, right? Like this is who we built this program for. So if you own a contracting business, you have anywhere from 4 to 50 team members, you've been in business 2 or more years, like you're not in your first season, but you've been doing this for a couple of years, you're starting to get the hang of it, and you have a strong drive, a strong desire to grow, and you are looking to do these 5 things: build a fully systemized company, develop as a leader, mastermind with other high performers, be challenged and held accountable, and then professionalize your industry. This is absolutely a program you need to check out. The stuff we're talking about today is very cool. As I say all the time, ideas are the easy part, right? It's the actual disciplined execution and implementation week in, week out. That is the challenge, and that's where the magic happens. So if you want to check out Breakthrough Academy, we would love to hang out with you. To apply, you are going to go to the exact same landing page that you need to go to get these resources. The process is pretty similar. So trybta.com/HSE-recruit. It's going to go in the chat box as well. And there will also be a pop-up that comes up on your screen that you can click. There's 3 different ways to get there. Very simple. trybta.com/HSE-recruit. It's going to take you to a landing page, and that's going to ask for your first name, your last name, your company, some basic stuff. We need your email, and so we can send you this package of an ideal candidate profile, setup call script, interview guide, and a job posting template, plus Jody's rapid hire stats. I think you have 2 options. You can just say, send me the templates right now, or you can say, send me the templates and I'd like to talk about how you can help my business. If you are, anywhere along this profile, if you are on this journey, if you are growing quickly and you need systems, do yourself a favor, book a call with us. These webinars are great, but they're kind of, one-sided in that we can't hear from you. We'd love to just flip the script, get on a call, tell us about your recruiting challenges, tell us about how the market is very hard, tell us about how your financial tracking isn't where it needs to be. We would love to start that conversation with you. So I'll leave that up for a second. trybta.com/HSE-recruit. Give you another chance to come back to this at the end. I said I'd be 5 minutes. I was 8. So let's get back to the questions. This is this is one that I really, really like, and I think we can spend a few extra minutes here. I know when I do like talks or webinars or presentations, I always notice that people like sharpen their pencil for this conversation. What are some outside of the box tactics that you have tried that have worked? So guys, not run of the mill, just like post a job ad and wait. We're talking about some more colorful things that you maybe haven't thought of. Jody, I'm looking at the list here. There's some really cool stuff. What outside of the box stuff works for you?
Right. So I've mentioned a couple of things. One of them is whenever the person opts in on the Facebook form, most companies just send a text message. Well, we send a text message with a picture of the ad. The picture of the ad, and then, hey, talking to them as a person. Hey, Benji, this is Jody, blah, blah, blah. And what that does, it cuts down on the who are you, why are you calling me, how did you get my phone number? Then we move through the process. We're always sending different messages, different calls to action because we're looking for the engagement, right? And then we get down to about day 4, and we send them a picture of a dog. So like in Tommy's case, his dog Finnegan, his Cavapoo, we send him, this is our mascot Finnegan. Every time someone completes an application, Finnegan gets a treat. So go ahead, complete the application. Finn is counting on you. And then the next day we send him Tom Cruise hanging from the ceiling. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to complete the damn application. Right? This message is going to self-destruct in 5, in 10, 9, 8. Well, not really, but if you land without it with a little emoji of a bomb. And putting those things in makes it more engaging. And then the other thing we do is, like I said, Meaghan mentioned it with doing voice drops, right? The shy dial, right? You put a voice drop on them. It's like, hey, this is Jody with Rapid Hire. If nobody ever knows our name, it would be your company name. It'd be like, hey, this is Deidre with A1. We're so excited. We got your information from our Facebook campaign. The next step in the process is complete the application. Or the next step in the process is complete the video interview. Go ahead and do that. Look at this phone number. The link is in there. We're so excited to get to meet you. Always making it that you're excited that you're coaxing them through that process. And then the thing that we're starting to implement now that we can actually do in our system is you can send them a 15-second video. Like, hey, Meaghan, this is Jody. We're so excited to get your application. Go ahead, look at the link at this number, fill it out, and we'll talk to you soon. Boom. And we did that in marketing with like doing it for chiropractors and different people with like, hey, this is a dog. So glad you're interested, to increase the conversion on appointments. But now we do it to increase the conversion on applications and the video interviews. So that's my automation out of the box thinking.
Yeah. One thing I love about those examples is there's a level of like lightness and informality, and it's fun loving in nature rather than sort of stern and serious. Like it's lighthearted, and I think that it's important in whatever recruiting message you're trying to get out there to the job market, guys. Be human. Don't be this corporate, formal, dressed down, surly brand. That's not warm. That's not inviting. Show that there's a human being on the other side of this process, even if a lot of it is automated. Show them that there's a real person that's excited to meet them, even if they're going to go through a few questionnaires first. That stuff really matters, and it will increase your conversions the entire way through the funnel. Tommy, what kind of you've got some really cool stuff. We were talking offline about this. What are your favorite outside of the box tactics?
Sorry, I'm kind of eating lunch at the same time. I'm just starving, and I'm a growing man. So, couple quick things. Number one is getting links for your employees. I can't tell you enough how awesome it is when I can take a picture with a selfie of a busboy. I'd be like, dude, I'm going to text you right now, get them into a funnel. And if I could get those for my employees and make the funnel easy to get him a ride along, because if you just pass your cards out all the time and say, call me sometime, that's going in the garbage. But when you continue to follow up, like Jody said, it's a completely different paradigm. It's proactive versus reactive. Number two, we do a lot of great things for our employees. And as much as I'm happy what we do, we're not even close to where I want to be. But we do a lot of dinners and lunches and all kinds of fun things. And we go to charities once a month. We spend the full day doing a charity. Anytime we're doing something amazing and fun, with Top Golf, we take them bowling once a month. Get a video, have all the employees come out and say, listen, use your link, do a selfie video, talk about how much fun we're having. If enough people, friends and family, see you, and I've got 5,000 friends on Facebook. I post something political to lose 20 friends because I need more space. But But we do the selfie videos, and I'm like, you guys get paid. Say how awesome the pizza is, whatever. But then they click that link, and then finally someone goes, I really like those guys. I'm going to message that person and see if it's good. Then they're going to tell us this is an awesome person. I'm surprised she's available now. She's not available. She's switching careers. The best people already work somewhere. Trust me, unless you get really lucky, they're not sitting on the unemployment line on Indeed and Glassdoor. I don't spend a lot of my time going through Indeed. I don't spend any time. Look, the best people, maybe they're on social media, but the real great people, they've already got a job. So those are a couple of things you could do to really attract great people that already have a job through your network.
I love it. I think that idea of creating highly shareable links is a really good one. So we talked about this the other day on the podcast. This is another, I think this is fairly simple, guys. If you don't on your at-home website have a careers page or a join the team page or a work with us page, I would highly encourage you to build that. And it would include a very simple 2 or 3 minute video that honestly you could shoot yourself, just describing why your place of work is awesome, talking a little bit about the team, the culture, the vision, etc. And then it would have open job postings that you're hiring for. And that little landing or that little join the team page can be turned into a very shareable link that your team, your staff can have on them at all times, and they can push to their friends anytime a connection like this gets made. It's an easier way to capture the person rather than just, spraying the room with business cards, as Tommy says. Meaghan, outside of the box tactics, let's go.
So we have a careers page and we have a really low budget video on there. The sound quality is terrible. The images are not great, but it compels this idea that we're like a family run business. We're small, we're fun. We're a good place to work, and we're not glossy. Like, they're not applying for a corporate job when they come to work for us. We also intentionally put a few typos in our text messages and in our automations so that it doesn't look like an automation, so that they feel like we're a real person. And the texts are not written by a robot or somebody in a suit. They're written by Jeff, who, didn't go to college, and he talks just very simply in a very friendly kind of way. And that's how we've written all of our text messages. We also try and compel them that we're a real person. Don't stand us up. So Jeff, we have an automated text message that goes out the night before, and it's like, hey, this is a little embarrassing, but I get stood up for a lot of these, and I'm going to be there tomorrow at this time in the corner wearing my blue shirt. And if you could just reply that you're actually going to show up, so I don't have to look like an idiot in front of the barista at the coffee shop, that would be sweet, So we kind of compel to his humanity and their humanity and make them feel like they're meeting a friend for that interview. That's really helped us raise our show up rates. Another thing is we promote these job listings in the groups of the people that we identified in our ideal candidate profile. So ideal candidate profile told us that our best candidates were not farmers and athletes like Danny Kerr, but they were rock climbers, Boy Scouts, and hikers. That's who we're going after. So then we're in all these Facebook groups, and every now and then we don't spam them. We just say, hey, thought you guys might be interested. We're hiring. We throw in a link to our careers page. I am not a Facebook marketer. I'm not a marketer, actually. I'm terrible at it. Jody is so much better. But we do have retargeting to our careers page running. So we have ads constantly running to retarget people that hit that careers page. And that's something I insist on. We're not going to push them straight into the Hire Who platform. I know it's one more click, but I want to push them to my careers page. That way I can retarget them, and then I can put them into my funnel. I am not cool like Tommy. I don't have links. I don't have text messages, but I do have those really dorky recruiting cards that say, you're awesome. The customer service you just offered right now was exceptional. I think you'd be a great part of my team, with a QR code. There's no other text on it. It's very simple. It's like a teeny tiny billboard with cute branding. Thanks, Dan Antonelli. I think that's all I got for my out of the box hacks.
I love it. Really, really good, guys. We've got one more sort of big meaty question to discuss. We have a quick closing question in a minute, and then we're going to do live Q&A, which I think Aaron is getting ready for us, because a lot of you guys have been posting really great questions throughout this entire conversation. We want to get to them. But this one first, culture is king. How is your culture impacting your hiring funnel? Tommy, you talk about this a lot on the podcast, in life. We'll start with you.
You know, there was a line out this door at one point when this ridiculously nasty virus hit. And the people actually came in here to donate all their PTO to other people that needed it. A lot of people insisted on taking demotions. We did not go that route. But when you realize that you built something that people actually want to build a family at, and you recognize when the children are born and that they're love home ownership and the big wins. We just had a guy quit smoking. We created a Monday board that actually has got an API into a text message tool. And I try to send out at least 10 really, really nice messages. So if you go to a1winner.com, you can see a Monday, you could fill out a form. And if they're an employee, which is the only numbers I have access to, I'll send them a quick message on Loom saying, hey, Michael, it's Tommy. Here on a Sunday. Just wanted to let you know that I hope you're having an amazing weekend. And I want to let you know something. You're helping me accomplish my dreams, and it means the world to me. And I just wanted to let you know that I see you out there. I appreciate you. In fact, one of your managers, Angela, sent me a message saying, you've hit a record 3 days in a row. And I can't tell you enough how much that means to me and how proud she is of you. And more importantly, I am. And I think you deserve some recognition. And A+ for effort. And I just think you're the best thing that's happened to A1 in a long time. And when you could do 10 of those a day, I mean, I have 450 some odd employees. What's it cost to freaking go to Costco and buy some Bisquick and make pancakes for a day? What does it cost for you to smile at somebody and catch them doing something right? If we really had this tactic of saying, I really care about you. I think you're amazing. You know, these are not tactics. This isn't any special tool. It's not crazy way to make you guys a bunch of leads. It's just a way of saying you care. And the law of reciprocity tells us that this is what people care about. When you smile at someone, it goes a long way. And it makes me kind of want to be emotional because I love these people. So that's the real deal. That's what I think. It's really important.
I love that, Tommy, and I think one thing that is immediately available to everyone, it costs nothing, is practicing recognition and practicing acknowledgement. It can be big. You could do a fancy awards night and give out prizes. It could be small, which is just like a text message or a quick impromptu conversation. But if you are not going out of your way to recognize the people that are currently working for you, I no, you're right. It's not a tactic, but I'm telling you, the amount of goodwill that you create in your own local community by just being that kind of leader is immeasurable. And we have a lot of phenomenal leaders in Breakthrough Academy. The ones that recognize their teams do not have major recruiting issues on any level. So I love that piece. Let's do a quick close. This is quick, a minute or less on the answer to close out. Then we're going to go to live Q&A. What do you know now that you wished you knew then when it comes to recruiting and hiring? What do you know now that you wish you knew then? We'll go Meaghan, Jody, then Tommy.
Employees should never cost you money. So I saw some comments in the chat about people being stressed about how much it's going to cost to hire and how much you should be paying and how are you going to afford all of that and all those benefits. Employees should never cost you money. And the biggest aha moment I had when it came to recruiting is that my employees, my team members, my staff are actually my highest paying customer. So Tommy talks about how much he spent on marketing and then how much he spends on recruiting. Like, your top performers are bringing in, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times the amount of your highest paying customer. So me shifting my priority back to my people and really focusing my energy on making sure that those people are winners for my company was huge. Absolutely life-changing.
Love it. Jody.
And so the thing that I learned was that everything you do for getting customers is the exact same thing you do for getting employees. That's the bottom line. Advertising for employees the way you advertise for customers and treating them just as importantly as you do that lead that comes in that you're going to go make money from, because a good employee is going to make you 100 times more than it costs you to hire them.
Tommy, what do you know now you wish you knew then?
Two quick things. I used to say always be closing. Now I say always be recruiting. I don't care. And I'm always hiring not when I need employees, before I need them. Number one. Number two is I used to think, man, how do I find great techs? How do I find great techs? How do I find another great installer? How do I find great technicians? Then I realized you got CSRs, one at 60%, one at 90. Both take 20 calls a day, $500 ticket average. 20 calls is not a lot. $500 ticket average is not a lot. They work 300 days out of the year. The one at 90% made you an extra $1 million. So when you learn that the warehouse guy matters, when you learn the CSR really does matter, an extra $1 million. When you learn dispatcher is done right, getting the right guy at the right place at the right time, and you stop focusing everything on technicians, you win the day. I wish I would have known that 10 years ago.
Those are really, really, really solid messages to end this structured part of our roundtable on, guys. And thank you for sharing. I think we've just summarized and posted in the chat box, guys. If you're watching or listening and you want to take that home, you can copy and paste that right out of the chat box. If you haven't yet, please go get these resources. You'd be really silly not to. So I'll just make that clear. trybta.com/HSE-recruit. Send me the templates and let's talk about how you can help my business. Check out the ideal candidate profile. Check out the interview guide. Check out Jody's stuff. As a bonus for being here, you also get access to Tommy's new book, which is all about hiring and recruiting. It's all about culture. It's going to be an even better, more succinct version of what we talked about today. When does that come out, Tommy?
It's about 4 months, and you guys helped me write the book with this Breakthrough Academy. No, I'm kidding. It's we're really packing in so many details. I'm interviewing a lot of people. We're really going to just talk about. I'm taking everything I've ever learned, and more importantly, I stacked the deck with a bunch of amazing people. So, cool. You know, for me, it's coming out in about 4 months, and I want to tell you guys, this is everything I got into this book. So, it should be okay.
Love it. Okay. Guys, if you have a question that you've been sitting on for a while, now would be the time to go to the questions box, put it in there. With the remaining 15 minutes or so, we're going to try to answer it. And we have a few that are just kind of sitting here that were submitted earlier. This is from Vincent Ewan. Should Easter eggs be used in job listings to disqualify candidates? For example, have candidates put the word coffee somewhere in their application to show they read through the whole thing. So there's like a little detail that's hidden somewhere in the job posting that ensures the job seeker has read the whole thing. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, 5 years ago when you had plenty of people lining up for jobs, Easter eggs were a thing. Today, whenever you're having trouble finding people to fill trucks, you're just causing yourself, those are stumbling blocks we're putting in there. You got to have the speed. Now, if you're interviewing somebody that's going to be, in your accounts receivable or accounts payable department, possibly, but not technicians and not because you're disqualifying prematurely. I would say no. If you're only time you put an Easter egg in there is if it's an emoji because it's around Easter time and you're running the ad.
And I found it's hard to automate. So it's a harder thing to filter through. You can build in some ways to filter it, but for me, I've tried them in a couple of different admin roles and I've let them go because they're harder to automate.
Yeah. Okay. How much of hiring struggles can be attributed to owners unwilling to pay a competitive salary? There was another question that came up earlier in the chat box which has been buried because we've had thousands of things go on in the chat box over the last hour, which was just about the person was asking, I'm summarizing it. They were asking us to speak about salary, compensation, wages, benefits, etc. Tommy, let's just go to you. Like, just broadly speaking, thoughts on competitive compensation, how much this matters. What do you do well when it comes to this stuff?
Yeah, well, my top guy is going to make over $400,000 this year. Why? Because he produces over $50,000 a day. Why? Because he's an animal, and that's fair. How does he get $50,000 a day? He's a closer. He walks up to every foreman he sees. He does outreach. He makes huge deals happen all the time. The thing is, you motivate the right things. You find people to stretch outside of the box. He sells flooring, storage, garage doors, sells high-end things. He finds high-end customers. He does all of his own things. Everybody's on performance pay. I let them win. My top CSR makes $30 an hour. How? Because they book more calls than you. They book double. Remember, 1A equals 3 B players. You could pay your person $15 an hour, get 3 of them. My A player that's making 30, you're paying $45 an hour, I'm paying 30. And they're happier. And it's easier to recruit. You guys might say, there's no way I could ever pay that. If I pay $1,500 to recruit and somebody gets 2 people a month, that's $3,000. That's $36,000. That means a CSR that makes 40 is making 76. I think, well, your customers must be getting gouged, people say. I got people that can book more calls, probably 3 times more calls than most call centers I know. We're able to book more phone calls. We've got economies of scale. I get better deals on everything. I get better deals on trucks. I get a better ROI on gas. I get money back on gas. I could do these things for our employees because we're growing so fast. And I don't mind when they win. When my guy makes $400,000, I'm taking him out for a steak dinner, and I'm going to say, you've done amazing. And people say, that's not possible. Come into my shop. Come to Vertical Track. It's May 12th.
I was just typing that in the box.
I'll show you guys how much our people can make here. And you might say, that's not fair. You're gouging your customers. Go look online. Go look at my 5-star reviews. I'm not the cheapest. I drive brand new trucks. I show up on time. I've got happy people here. Anybody who has that mindset of I can't pay anybody that much money, I don't even make that money, that's fine. Your salespeople should make more than you, first of all. You own the company. You've got equity. So that was a little long answer, but I just get really emotional about this stuff.
Yeah,
It's good, man. I love it. Sorry, Jody, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was typing that in the box as Tommy said it about Vertical Track. It's coming up on basically on May 12th, 13th, and 14th in Arizona. If you want to see how he does this, take a tour of his shop. See how his CSRs book all these jobs, how his salespeople do that. I'm going to be there. Meaghan's going to be speaking there. We did it back in November. It's amazing. It's not just for garage doors. It's for anybody in the home service industry can walk away from that with things to implement. And basically, it's one of those things that it's 3 full days, and you walk away with more than you could imagine. So I just wanted to give that shameless plug for Tommy and his event. When he put it together, they said nobody would ever make this work. I didn't ask for this, and I didn't ask for the book plug. I think that was Gianni. I just right. Thought if people are like, they want to do a walkthrough, I'm like, come. I open my doors. I invite all my competitors in here. I'm happy. Matter of fact, I'm going to put in here BTA promo for anybody that goes to verticaltrack.com. You put in the code BTA promo. There's even a discount because you're on this. You're on here. We completely hijacked this from Benji and Aaron. They didn't even know we were going to do this. We'll never be invited back. But,
but it's important, and the shop tours are amazing. Like, if you want to feel and taste Tommy's culture, like, Tommy, did you say you tripled your company in a month? I feel like I heard you. Did you say that? I feel like
no, not in a month. I said if each employee hired 2 people this month, we'd be triple. No, we tripled in a.
I was like, that's impossible. But it's very cool when you get to see he's playing. What do you play? Duck Hunter or whatever with your staff in the break room.
Duck Hunter. Yeah,
Buck Hunter, and they've got their hangout area. They had an ice bar. We did go bowling. That was super fun. Yep. Anyway, Vertical Track's a good place, and to feel the culture, it's genuine, which is awesome.
Totally.
Yeah.
One more question here, guys, from Kevin Hahn. This is a good one. How big of a company do you need to be to start to automate some of this stuff? We're a team of 5.
That's a relative question. I think you automate more when you're small. I think it's the David and Goliath, right? I'd say David's got a lot of advantage over Goliath. Number one, you could take a lot longer to each. I ask my guys when I'm starting a market, when I go to a job, and I know it's a little off track, and I'll pass it to one of these guys, but I ask for 4 reviews. I ask for a video testimonial, a yard sign, and then I ask for the HOA manager's number. When I was 5 people, I had an advantage over all the big companies. They couldn't do this job to job to job. I got more time now. I'm David. I got this slingshot, man. I got a lot of ways to win. So I think being small has a lot of advantages, and I'd write down every advantage you have and take advantage of your advantages.
Right.
But I also feel like you have less time when you're small, right? Like, because you're wearing more hats, you're doing more things. And so by automating, you're actually creating time and space. Can anybody relate to the night before a new hire is starting and like all the things you have to get ready and how stressful that is? And like trying to remember where's the uniforms and where's the tools and where's the paperwork? And you know, like if you could build a system, then you could take away that stress. You don't have to think about it again. The system's going to run itself. I know we listed a ton of really like high level automations. Just start with one thing that's annoying to you. Collecting W-4s from employees, is that annoying when you're onboarding? Then send it electronically, send it automatically. If auto renewing your job listing is something you always forget, then just figure out a way to automate that. Jody dropped some really good links in there. If your ad's not converting and you're frustrated because you're not filling out the top, just start in one place. Fix that system, buy yourself a little bit more time, and then move to the next thing. That's what I would say.
And the thing is, like, we work with companies from 5 to over 500 employees. And it's not, I don't think anybody's too small to use automations and to put things in place. And one of the things that blows people away is that I spend as much time talking with someone that needs 1 or 2 employees as I do talking to somebody that needs to hire 15 or 20. And I show everybody the inside of the workings of exactly what we do. I shared a link here earlier. Successful Facebook ads. How many people are going to show you, here's the Facebook ads that we basically almost proprietary to how we do things. And I shared it with you on here because the more I give, the more that we all get. And so that's why we do that. So it's not really anybody too small. And even if it is, I give people enough information, they walk away with things to implement by the time they get done. So this has been, and as long as this has been as great as it is, all we've really done is scratch the surface on this whole thing.
Oh,
if you really look at it.
Totally. People always worry, are you giving away too much? It's like, no, man, there's
this is impossible.
Don't worry. Yeah. I think it's a question for Tommy, I think. Also, let's start with you, Tommy, but Meaghan and Jody, if you guys have thoughts on this as well, chime in. What is the best way to pay customer service reps? Is paying base pay plus bonus to a CSR okay? Maybe just go through your comp structure for that role.
I personally don't do that here. They either make a low $12 is minimum wage. So I don't like to give them, I never want to make somebody feel comfortable. So if you give them base plus performance, I don't like that. I want either or. I learned that from Angela. And I'm telling you what, the people that aren't trying weed themselves out very, very, very fast. And don't have to worry about paying unemployment and a bunch of other things. But I also love the people when I call them up and I'm like, did you just make $28 an hour this week? They're like, oh my gosh, I'm hooked. And then we do a round robin and put them on a weighted average. And all of a sudden, I don't care. They're never on their phones. They work from home. And you should hear these calls. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, honey. Oh, we'll get that. Like, way to set up a technician. I'm telling you, my mom used to answer phones. But if you do one or the other, whichever is going to make more, if this one's this, they're like, oh man, I can't live off of this. What do I need to do to get better? That's what I'm hoping they're going to do. But don't ever do, because then you really instill this thing of being average. They make 16, 17. You hold the bad people around. They're not bad people. They just need to be coached. But if they got a will, we'll find a way. So I like either or, Vincent.
Okay, love it. I'm going to try to squeeze one in from our BTA member, Judy Koch. Shout out to Kaiben Landscaping in Calgary. I hope she's still here. Can someone tell us more about setting up these video interviews? I feel like Jody, Meaghan, you guys both talked about it. I think Judy is just asking a little bit about the technical setup. How easy is it for someone that's never done it? What would be like the basic steps to follow to get started?
Here, I can show you right here.
Yeah, go for it.
Here's your phone. You're recording the video. Hi, this is Jody with Rapid Hire. We're so excited that you're interested in a position with our company. The next step in the process is to record a couple of short answers to some questions we have. You can use your iPhone, your Android. Make sure you have good lighting, dress for success, and have fun answering the questions. We'll see you on the other side. Boom. And that's it. And then you upload that video and you type your questions in. Then they go. And you never know what you're going to get. We could be like the guy we had in Las Vegas, logoed shirt on, doing the interview. answered the first question. It rolls over. He doesn't realize the camera's rolling, and he picks up a one-hitter pipe and fires it up. So you never know what you're quite going to get with that, but it's super simple. And any of the systems you're using, whether it's people have mentioned Video Ask, we use HireFlix, they're all very simple to set up, and it's very low tech. It's high tech whenever it comes to the automations, but it's low tech when it comes to setting up.
So what are the systems that actually deliver those automations? Is that coming straight from your CRM, or is it is it like a third system? And maybe you could just give a list of the ones. Oh, there's one, HireFlix.
HireFlix is what we do the interview with. All of our other automations is through our Rapid Hire Pro platform. It's a platform. Okay. It's an app you can go look on iTunes and Google Play. It's an app there. Everything we do is in our organic system that we created that we do all the automations with. But there's a number of different ways that you can do it. We just chose to build our own platform to make it really fit into the recruiting aspect of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, love it. Okay, guys, that's all the time we have. It is 12:29 my time. If you've not gone and booked a call with Breakthrough Academy, don't be silly. Go do it. If you haven't downloaded the resources that we're giving away, go do that. I really want to thank you guys all for being here. We've had a ton of engagement. The chat box has been really lively. There's lots of great questions. I would all give you guys give yourself a pat on the back for being the type of entrepreneur that's committed to constant learning, that takes time out of their week to level up in certain areas of their business game. So thank you for coming. We do these all the time. Come to more in the future. And I'd really, really, really like for all of you to thank our panelists today. Meaghan, Jody, and Tommy are all extremely busy people who have taken time, not just to do this. We also prepped last week. So this is a big commitment. And they've just done this because they care about you guys and providing information that hopefully helps. So if we can get a thank you in the chat box for our panelists. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate being here.